I don't know how that's supposed to go, but well, so I think I got everything. I hopefully got everything set, but let's see. So hello, Tokupunk. Thank you for being the first, or you know what? Thank you for being the first person on this stream. What is? I feel like what? I mean, we could probably talk about this later, but yeah. But you're here. Am I fine? Like, do I sound fine, or is it like just the typical? But like, I don't know. I'm just trying to recall your previous. Okay, thank you. But I feel like you've. I don't know, because I was gonna say that I feel like you've been like cycling through like other series, but I think I'm confusing what you typically say with like Ryder and such. So my bad. I mean, it's kind of the same of just just kind of existing. Okay, thank you, Axel. But yeah. So I apologize for. So I decided to push up the I initially put the stream up at like 7:55 because I wasn't too sure on whether or not the stuff I was doing was gonna was gonna finish in the background at that point. And I just ate in the last hour. So I was just like, okay, might as well just like I already had the set for like 2 hours. So I was just like, okay, might as well just push the stream for like another might as well push it forward and such. But also just for how like technically like how erupt it came out to be, but yeah. That I guess that's how you can put that. But basically, as you can already see already, so this was always the initial plan for like what we were going to do for this next Blazar stream, because I finally got myself my the Gashpon for Blazar Stones finally arrived last Wednesday, and I got these in December, but Bai didn't get them in until January. And then I made Dryken pick the second cheapest shipping option, to which took another 2 weeks to get here and such. So there's that. And then all the rest of these are the last mainstay DX stuff. So here's Fedoron, Fedoron for the Fedoron armor. Then we have Blazar Stone set 07. And we have Blazar Stone EX. Here comes our Ultraman set and such. Yeah, good luck to your ACT. I think like I'm more disappointed on my performance on that because I think I definitely could have done better, but I think it was in the science portion. I drank way too much water for some reason. During break, I drank 2 bottles of water in a row for some reason, and that made me lose concentration on the science portion. So obviously, that was like the portion I like did not perform well at. I think I definitely could have done better on the ACT because I'm typically like a fine student. But the last thing that we got to showcase, or we have to showcase, is the Bandai China release for the Blazar stone case. Due to the fact this actually does have a stone that's actually exclusive to it and such. So technically, the we should technically be covering these release order wise, which is Ferdinand Set 7, EX, the case, and then actually no, I think the case came out before. The case was like November. And then no, I think it was these 3, and then the case, and then Gashapon 4. Obviously, we EX the two new generation star sets are missing. I do have both of those secured. I think Draken's gonna ship out his HLJ box next month just to get Crosshopper and such because he already pre-ordered 10 liner, so it just makes sense just to wait for like I think if he's actually able to, he's probably gonna just wait out on Crosshopper to get released and then ship that box out. So yeah, um, we don't have the new generation stars set yet, but we'll probably cover those alongside. We'll hold those back and just wait until I get the EX selection set because luckily, as I think the movie exclusives, like the movie theater exclusive stones got released, I think 2 days ago. Luckily, I don't have to track those ones down because they're just the exact same as their original counterparts, sadly, which I think is kind of one of the biggest blunders of this toy line. Just not really, but like this stone is like the only variant worth buying into and such. So again, just to take a look, here is the Blazar stone case and such, to which again I appreciate Bandai China's packaging and such. I like how, like, obviously I know it's because it's still Bandai, but like I appreciate that, like, it does it. It's the packaging's in its own way, but it's still like consistent and such. Megadong, it's because I started Megadong. It's just because I started it early, and also, please do not turn on your notifications for me. So, okay, this is our first look at a Bandai China product. That's not going to be our last, though. So, here it is. Here is the Blazar stone case. Sorry. As you can see right here, its packaging is pretty interesting. And such. Megadong, there's a thing called the subscription fee. Like, seriously. Like, don't. Just subscribe. That's all you need to do. So, here is the case. The case is a lot smaller. What is this? Like, this is really cool and such because here's the candy toy. I'm specifying this, but this is candy toy Blazar stone. And if you actually compare the two, like, you can tell this one's a lot smaller in comparison, but it's really neat that they did this. Also, this one's actually painted as opposed to the original. And the back just has that. The thing here is that I kind of wish it wasn't a sticker, but you know, there's at least some heft to this. And apparently this is upside down. So yeah, here are some foam inserts for the most part. You can, I guess, take them off. So I guess be careful with this because this is just a paper backing. That's kind of unfortunate, actually. Yeah, because you can tell it's already like dented and such. All right. But obviously we're here for this. The new generation stone silver. They weren't even trademarks. It was just a thing on like Notepad or something. I barely looked at them. This one is B354. You can get it off of To Collectibles, I think. If they still sell it, such. But if I were to take out the binder. So, yeah. And then, as you can see from back here, different notch. So this one is required. And this, if you know from the, if you know the list of sounds, this one actually does do something within the Blazar brace and such. I don't know. Like, I feel like it's kind of a weird, because, sorry, but it's, you know, it's positioned like this, but like you have to open it like that, which I guess I know it makes sense, but it's just kind of weird, especially because like it's positioned like this, then you just simply do that. And also, like, I mean, it's solid, but I feel like this, I think it probably would have been, I don't know, maybe a ratchet would have helped this. But yeah, so hopefully this helps. Yeah, well, I wish I can actually have it. I wish I can give you a fair comparison, because I only have the Hasbro ones. But here is new generation stone silver in here. Yes, we finally got one of the Chinese sounds. One of the pre-programmed Chinese sounds in here. And I think that's just those two sounds. Yeah. This one definitely is a weird fit because of how the track is, so it's definitely struggling. But there's three of these sounds in here. So this one uses the one for zero and such. Because there's one for Ginga and Decker, I think. But other than that, like they're kind of the same. It's just that after that phrase, it's the grunt of that Ultraman. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be insensitive. China likes a lot of China likes a lot of things that we don't like. Plus 100 social credits. What do you mean? But yeah, so that goes with there goes with that. Next up we have further on after what 3 months. But this one only has the one. So this is tend to be the only other like necessary item that you need to get. Or no, I mean like this is tend to be the only thing that like they make you buy for the sake of like a stone and such. Fedoron's a lot more. It's a lot smaller than I was anticipating it to be. Well, I get it. This is okay. This is the only annoying thing about these packages. Because it's plastic, it's a lot more difficult to like get it back in the box without basically ruining the corners of it. Because like one of the end flaps just don't want to cooperate. Okay, there. But yeah, it's because it just looks like a small dagger kind of thing. Wait, how does how does this work? Jeez. Like, okay, so yeah, he's still pretty tiny. This is pretty tiny, but I will say like, wait, can he move his jaw? Oh, he can. He has jaw movement. Huh. Yeah. Wait, no. Yeah, he's a pretty tiny kaiju overall, but still pretty impressive. I don't know if it's supposed to be in like in scale to like the Ultra Heroes or whatever. So, here's Gotchard. So yeah, I guess I think it's supposed to be in scale with an Ultra series. Or like an Ultra Hero series. Fair. Well, I think I find it more. I think I find it more impressive. I think the reason why I find this impressive is just because like there's no model for this thing, or no, like the only thing that this has is a CGI model, and it's just obviously it's just it's just completely engulfed in fire. So like just seeing it in like this crimson red is pretty interesting. Such. And again, I'm not too sure of how you're actually supposed to have this. Armor Digi-Egg? Which Digimon series is that? I thought the blue accents were the only thing that came out of it. Hopper 1 is gone. If Hopper 1 can beat Fredon, then why didn't it? The second season? Oh. Then here is the stone itself, to which I think this is in the same color as the EX stones. So far, it doesn't look like that. This definitely is a lot more brighter. And then this one is B004. So, what do we play the sounds of this first? I mean, if you like eating minerals, then sure. Why is it not closing? What do you even say? Because, like, what do the instructions say? How much sounds does he have? Because I think I went through all 7. No, there's 4, but then what? There's. Wait, are these attacks? Because we just have this to follow with. I think I went through all of them. It's not a Pokemon, it's a Digimon. So, okay. So then before we transform this, we have to transform with the Blazar stone. Wow, they came out really well on camera. Yeah, you're right, Megadon. It's a Bakugan. I don't have a Blazar figure. I don't have. There's no Blazar figure in our possession. Unless. Do one of you guys bend? Can you ride further on? No, you can't ride further on. Can you stand on top of him? No. But well, so stand, Rita. Lean on the picture frame. So this one only has 3? Yeah. Really odd for a main Blazar stone to only have 3 sounds. This one doesn't even have an attack. Alright. So then we have to transform this. Ow. Ow. Like, so, wait. How does... No. Because the head's supposed to be, like, hidden, I think. How is this supposed to be? I don't know how to... Oh, no. The head's supposed to be out? Oh. Oh, jeez. Okay, and then we take... Do these even clip in? They don't clip, they just come together and by friction. Imagination. Okay, so we get to finally bring this thing in. Oh, of course. Okay. No. So. Okay, so first of all, I guess we can't get this thing entirely framed, but. Okay, so one of my first concerns is like handling it because I don't want this to end up like what weapon? Like it was a weapon with the Naginata that like okay, this is good. I can actually put my whole hand on the handle because I was kind of concerned that you weren't going to be and such, or that you weren't going to be allowed to do so and such. But yeah, I think it's just because I'm so used to how it looks in the show. But yeah, this is definitely a lot more smaller, but I think it's honestly fine. It means I can actually still hold on to the handle. I don't think it's the king's weapon I'm thinking about. You put the Megadon, you just spill lighter fluid on the sword. You put lighter fluid on the sword, and then you light it up. then thank you, Megadon. I appreciate it. And then this is a weird way of. Oh no, it's because you have to. Yeah, these are not. These are not press. These are not as pressy as these, as the actual buttons. So. And again, because it works the same like the Muso Saber, you have to like press it down to like disengage it. Yeah, this is where I was gonna get to. This is what I was gonna get to. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate it doesn't change colors because I was like, I'm pretty sure it's still like, I'm pretty sure it does in the show and such, but I kind of wish this was. I think it's kind of weird for me saying this. I just wish this thing was more clear because it's just like I feel like I feel like this toy is just another instant of like, okay, here you try to figure out the differences between these sounds and such. But other than that, like, you know, it is pretty neat overall. And I do like that they decided to actually make it combine with the Chilsonite sword. Because, like, the Chilsafard Lancer, I think it's what it's called. Sorry. Like, this thing is actually pretty cool. Like, actually, like, having, like, even though it's just an obscurance to the handle, admittedly, it just obscures the handle, but at least, like, you know, it at least doesn't hinder your handling of it. And, you know, it's just pretty neat with how, you know, just, it's just pretty neat how they managed to do it. I just wish this thing did additional sounds in the Chilsonite sword, or Chilsonite. I don't know. Blazar is weird with its romanizations. I explain this in next month's videos, but like they want you to pronounce it. They want you to spell it with a T, but it's pronounced with a CH. So it's just like, all right. Yeah, I think that basically sums it up. Like it, you know, obviously they did. Jeez. Oh, I'll probably actually have to keep it in the Lancer mode because this tail is so long. But obviously, they clearly packed this thing in here, so then people basically just to make this set useless. Yeah, I think it would have been cool if this was like a dagger. If it had adult own handle of some sorts and such. I don't know. But I mean, again, I haven't watched the show. Does Fedoran actually assist Blazar, or is its only purpose is just to become a part of the Lance? It's I can't even say it's not even buy more toys, because if they were following the scheme of set 3 and 4, this definitely would have been packed in with this set. But then they didn't for some reason, so it's just this set becomes the oddity it is. Because what even is this set? Plus, what is this ugly packaging? Like, why did they need to extend this another row parallelly? They could have easily just stuck 2 more stones up here. But, like, I guess they really wanted to keep this thing consistent, which I don't blame them for. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't like this packaging at all. But at least it's consistent. Or at least it at least has another lineage of stones that are consistent with it, but at the same time not. Just the lance. Wow. So again, we have this weird set because like it's just like, how are you gonna sell this set if you already gave out the main stone in another item? Because this, I think this is honestly one of the worst like final sets they've done. It just doesn't make any sense. This lineup just, like, why? Only like I think half of like I feel like this set for sure felt like one that they just felt obligated. Like, so for sure they're like, okay, this is the final retail set we're gonna do for the show, and we need to somehow make it special. But we already have like enough specialty stones in here. And it's just like, just throwing some like random stones that are like just throwing sounds that are programmed in. So what? I mean, thank you for the offer, but no. Give me power. I'll only do it for power. I'll take any powered stone off of anyone's hands. But yes, you indeed do. So here is some Zero Beyond, to which, like, again, well, this is definitely a nice color combination. Like, doing the reviews for these things, I've kind of realized a lot of like little things about like the covers and such. And I've started to like appreciate them and such. It's just like I started appreciating the stones themselves, but like, you know, the functionality is still like kind of eh. This one is B089. I finally realized what he was saying. He was saying I have no limit. I struggled with that in the reviews. Yeah. The one zone. Lean flavored stone. Cool. So here's Savenger or Savenger, but that's not what this is called in Megadong. This is called the storage custom. No, it's just called the storage. I think, yeah, it's just called the storage stone. And this one is, oh gee, what the heck happened? But this is B225. What the heck happened to mine? There's like, I don't know, just some random plastic. Too much exits. Plastic got removed. These are coming out a lot more better here than while we're actually recording them. Yeah. So I mean, I'm glad they got this sound out, even if it's through the weirdest means. But it's like cool, like because at first, like we did when we initially did think it was just the Savenger stone, I was like, why? Why is this even an option choice? But it's there, even if it means we technically only got 1 out of the 4 storage custom kaiju sounds in that toy. Even though it wasn't through the means of Zet. Here's Ginga Victory, to which this is a interesting color scheme because now Ginga Victory is yellow. But this is what they typically use just to represent gold now. But you do if you want the Savenger stone. Whose arc? Prove it. This one is B101. So, and again, like Ginga is a weird case because as you can see here, Ginga has 2 of these stones. But I guess I have a reason of why they probably just why they let that slide. Okay. Whoops. Obviously, they got that from the Dimensionizer. And that's why Sho is stuck with the victory call out, even though he doesn't do it. Random choice of the set number 1. Orb Spacium Zeparion. Not that off. just because, it makes sense to have another orb. But why is he considered a power up? And like, I do appreciate this because I think, okay, so Zero Beyond is pink. This is technically the pink. And like Orb Spacium Superion is purple and such. Like, I don't mind the color combinations. The color combinations are actually pretty neat and such. But it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't mind them putting out Orb Spacium Superion because, like, spoilers, it's the only other orb stone programmed into the toy. For some reason, it's Spacium Superion, which I get. It makes sense because it was previously his main form. But because they retroactively made it Orb Origin, like, yeah, I get it. But like, again, there's like this weird gap. Like, there's this toy has weird priorities of who got to have their entire lineage of forms and who got stuck with like one other form. Because, like, okay, I had to point this out too. So how come Space Sims Superion gets its full ultra replica transformation, but Zero can't have the sluggers going onto his head? And also, I just realized they actually changed the animation for that one. They actually gave it the generic animation, the generic special animation and such, which is pretty interesting. I'll give them that. I respect them for actually changing that. I think they did the same with Ginga Victory too, unless they just gave it Ginga's animation. I personally wasn't paying attention. Did I already highlight this? I don't remember. No. Megadong, if you want the Thunder Breast, if you want Thunder Breast here, you have to get the Root Gyro. Because Megadong, there's only Orb Origin and Spacium Zaparion are the only two programmed forms. Because I think it's technically from X, Orb, Rube, and Taiga. Those four only have a singular form, technically. Because X only has X and Exceed X. Orb only has Orb Origin and Spacium Zaparion. Rosso and Blue have Rube. So, because with Rube, there's only 4 stones: Rosso Flame, Blue Aqua, Rube, and Grigio. And then Taiga follows the same. There's Taiga, Titus, Fuma, Taiga Tri-Stream. There's not even Rega. And then you have series like Tiga, Zet, Trigger, and Decker that have all their forms, and Zero too. You have those 5 that have all their forms programmed, but only Zet and Tiga and Trigger, I think, they bothered. All right. Yeah, okay, so speaking of Trigger, because it was programmed in there, Trigger Sky type. So here, this one is B139. Cool. right. I mean, Megadon, X has been getting shafted for like X has always been the one getting shafted in terms of these gimmicks. They never put out the cyber armors. They always X they never consider the cyber armors that are not Ultimate Zero actual forms. Only the card series. Only the gimmicks with cards they actually consider the cyber armors. But for the most part with X, they only consider with X they always do, just the base form, Ultimate Zero, Exceed X, and Beta Spark armor. Those were the only 4 X forms they always do and such. Yeah, Photon Earth. I think it's incredibly sad that Photon Earth finally got merch when it came to Decker. The Ultra Dimension cards are the only thing that actually respected Photon Earth. Because I absolutely love that form, and yet there's like nothing for it. Because like I really wanted the Ultra Metal. They never released the Ultra Metal. Swatch. I hope that was a different grunt. Because again, they have the resources. And then our obligatory, hey, technically new generation Ultra, but not really a selection of the set. We have Regulos. Which again does like it he's fitting for this set. Like again, he's fine. But great. Yeah, so as you can see from here, these are all different shades of colors. I think Zero Beyond's a new shade, honestly. Because Spatium's Aperion is purple. Regulos is a light purple. Or light pink. And then basically Zero Beyond's like a hotter pink. Which is definitely interesting. Then again, I think... No, we've had red. I was going to make some random statement and like, you know what? We never actually had red Blazar stones, and like we have Taro. Also, I just realized Fedoron is actually... Fedoron is actually yellow. So half of Blazar's main stones are yellow. Because I didn't know that Garurumon was yellow. But again, we'll get to that. Regulos is B148. Megadon, you never Megadon, you never shut up about how much you don't like Taiga. I didn't want to say shut up, but that was the first thing that came to my head. I apologize. Here comes Tokubunk whenever Taiga gets mentioned. Cool, giving us math equations. I never really Why? Why did Tsuburaya have to provide the worst sound for Regulos? Why did they have to provide his grunt with a sound effect? Like, where was this even ripped from? Where in Destined Crossroad was that audio ripped from that they didn't they weren't able to extract the sound effect. Like, come on. And plus this too. Isn't this the finisher with Leo and Astra? And again, like, I can't blame them for anything because these are sounds that are carried over from the. I think the Dimensionizer. I think they were. I think they were Dimensionizer sounds, and not from the original D Flasher. But regular. That song sucks. I know you're saying regulars. Again, I keep forgetting that there's a delay. I have to keep that in mind. But here comes the second EX set, to which this is basically on par with the first EX set. Just that this one doesn't have as much. Well, it does have significance, but it was more just like it. You know, it wasn't the like, oh yeah, Ultra 7 55th anniversary. This one's just more like, oh yeah, here's Ultraman's version of it and such. And again, just a way to get more kaijus out without actually doing them. So, I think when we initially were trying to find this listing off of Mercari, Ryder and I found a listing that was only like, I think they were selling it as just these three because someone wanted to keep the Zeton and such, which is pretty funny. But here we are with Ultraman special version. Obviously, these are reminiscent of the silhouettes from the opening. Yeah, Ultraman special version. Ultraman Stone special version. He is B228. So yeah, it just functions like the 7 special version similarly. And again, doing a comparison. Fedoron is a lighter. He is a lighter red. These are more deeper red. Then we have Gomera, who is obviously a normal kaiju stone, so he's just B174. I've seen the first 2 episodes because my dad randomly picked up the original Mill Creek DVDs. So, like, he just put up the first 2 episodes. Like, I will not play this for the rest of them. Bolton Sajin, or Alien Bolton. He is B173. I guess if we had to do the obligatory comparison. Oops. Yeah. Oh, jeez. And then here we have Zeton, who is B178. Yep. So there it goes. We finally at least got more kaiju stones, because honestly, like I think the Blazar is at least kind of back to how Zet handled kaijus, which is non-existence. But I feel like the EX sets basically helped them out. But honestly, not really. So again, we will open these up in the order they were, to which I will go through the pamphlet, because here's the pamphlet, to which we have Garmon, Gashapon version, Leo, Astra, 80, Ginga Stream, and then Jeed, Royal Mega Master. So the lineup for this one is pretty easy to follow through. But I'm glad, like, I know with series like this, I know that like the Gashapon line, of course, always goes up to 4. But like, I don't know, with Blazar, it was just more of like they severely needed to pick up the pace. Or the pace and such, just because they were really lacking. But I'm glad that they did actually commit through it. And also it makes me happy because we finally like got another version of Garmon. Because I severely needed that, because again, they should have done a third candy toy set, but no. But like, honestly, I don't know, this, like, I can't blame them for the line. I can't blame them for choosing this lineup and such, because again, like, this is like they're at the lineups we've been getting are more of like, oh shoot, we need to get these sounds out because we already had these sounds programmed in there. So it was just like, yeah, makes sense. I mean, I have the ones that make you. I have the majority that make unique sounds. So here is our Gashapon version of Garmon. Really like how this one falls through with the previous two. But obviously, instead of being considered the candy toy versions, now the Gashapon version, as this one's V023. Like, yes, you can complain how this wastes a slot. It's just like, look, what other obscure ultra, like, what other ultra do they have? And then here's Leo. I'm sorry I'm being inconsistent now, but Leo, again, I don't know what this color is supposed to be. Leo was blue, but I guess they're no longer wanting him to be blue. V034. I think the only time he was red was in Zet. I think Leo's the only one that never had a consistent color, or for the most part, never had a consistent color because he was always considered blue until Z. And then here's Astra. Thank gosh, because Zet never bothered to release an Astra medal, and Astra is surprisingly black, which is pretty interesting. And he is V035. Leo is V034. And then here we have 80, who is now green. All right. V038. And then we have our two oddities of the power-up lineup. The lineup of power-ups stones. We have Ginga's Stream. Which, again, I like this color scheme because this is the same color scheme that Decker Miracle type was. So I really do like it. And plus, I think Ginga Stream was always represented in this color. And he is V098. And then here is Jeed Royal Mega Master. Because this was the last Jeed sound programmed into the toy. So Jeed Royal Mega Master is basically the same like Ginga Victory. And Glitter Tia. And he is V118. So okay, yeah, you did. Yeah, the color choices, like from my time actually looking through them, they're confusing. They're definitely the most confusing color choices we've been getting. Because you thought the hyper keys were confusing. Look at these things. I was very glad that the dimension cards reverted back to the mostly, I think, reverted back to the colors that were from Orb. Here we have the best stone. Woohoo! Oh, that's probably my favorite Blazar. Leo. Of course. Of course it's so happy they reverted back to a older Leo grunt. That I've always appreciated Leo's grunts. Especially because the only Ultraman Fighting Evolution game I had in hand at the time was Zero. The PSP one. Of course he doesn't do anything. And as always, this is always Astra's only singular grunt. 80. He should have been pink. That's really cool. Like for the longest time, every time, like my older brothers were always a jerk to me whenever the Climax Heroes games got released yearly, because they will always make sure to try to beat it before I ever can like see them. So before we can actually play it. Because I think one time, I think it was probably like during like Climax Heroes Double, I saw a peek of it when like when my oldest brother played it, and then they immediately like kicked me out of the room. And then because again, back then I didn't really follow much on the news. So like with Climax Heroes 4s, obviously like at the time we only knew that Elix states was going to be in the game, but I was not aware about fire states and such. So like when I was actually allowed to play the game, um I immediately went to fours and I was like, "Oh shoot, like Fire States is in here." Like I was like cheering. And like my oldest brother just like shut me up. He was like, "Yeah, it's in the like yeah." Or I was like more like is fire like I wasn't necessarily being annoying about it, but I was just like I just wanted to know like is Fire States in the game? Is Fire States in the game? And then like when I saw it was, I was just like completely shut about it. Cause then like Zrykin did like a dirty trick to me with like another story is that like when the Samurai game, the Power Rangers Samurai DS game got released and such. I don't know if this was purposeful or not because I told him this story like years later and he felt absolutely bad about it. But like I think he pulled this like horrible like I don't want to say prank, but he pulled this like he pulled this thing to me where like because again, it was still at the point where like I basically wasn't allowed to play these new Counter games until basically they were done with it and such. So like this is like the first time where I actually got to I was potentially going to actually be able to play a new game. And like Dragon just hands me the DS and is like, "Oh yeah, here you go. Here's Power Ranger Samurai." And I was like, "Oh, this is going to be cool." But the game wouldn't work. No, Tokopunk. I'm the youngest one. Zrykin is the second oldest. I'm. I've kind of already. I'm pretty sure I did explain. Oh, this what? How did you like? Okay, honestly, how did you think that I was the older one? Like even without like knowing how I look, because everyone confuses me as the older one. I like that they use this one. It's not one that's typically used, and like it was they got it from the free. They got it again from the hyperkey. Ginga stream. It just felt like it. See, they still carry that over, even though it's not applied to the sound. That's actually weird because that means because honestly, you would have expected Orb Space Needles to Paragon to carry over its phrase. But Geed Royal Mega Master. Okay, I'll reiterate this too. Like Tokapunk, that's why Sorokin I mean, that's why Zrykin has a disdain towards you too. Or he's more stricter with you two. Yeah, so so yeah. Gashapon 4 is definitely a weird lineup. It's Gashapon 4 is just lineup. Gashapon 4's lineup is basically just made up of, hey, we need to get these sounds out. So, which I don't mind. It's just I would have liked more push through, as opposed to just like, and also like again, I think it was pretty smart of who they put in this lineup, because obviously they need, because I was trying to figure this out with like brainstorming it of just like, well, if they chose anyone that wasn't the Ultra Brothers, how would they handle the like Gashpon variants and such? So it was kind of smart of them of basically holding off on Leo and 80 to do the Gashpon variants, because they are Ultra Brothers. I think people forget that. Obviously, it's upsetting that Meduse got cut out of the lineup, but I mean, it's like, what can we do? And like, Ginga Stream and like, again, Ginga Stream and Royal Mega Master, I think, are valid just because they were kind of the last few of the extra forms that needed to get put out. Because again, like what I mentioned earlier with X or Rose, like Rube and Taiga, like Ginga. Okay, so I guess I have to categorize it as like Ginga / Victory. So I think to that extent, technically, Ginga and Victory had another stone to themselves, or technically. And then Jeed had 3 stones. Because again, like, I think they want it so that Ginga Victory is considered Ginga's other stone programmed into here. And then they're making it so that Ginga Victory is Victory's partner stone in the programming, because Victory, if I recall, and Victory is B099, and Ginga Victory is 101, because B100 is nothing. Because again, you have to keep in mind, I think Ginga, Decker, and Ginga, Zet, and Decker are like programmed into this toy like 5 times. So like the Ginga stone that they're constantly reproducing is like because for Ginga, Zet, and Decker, they're using the first one programmed, even though there are other one like there is like a Ginga stone that's B097, which I don't know why they don't bother just putting out that. Like, this is why I haven't. You're gonna hear me rant about it whenever I do cover the EX sets and such, but like, so basically, the way they're basically, to summarize, the way they're trying to settle these stones is that Ginga's power up stone is Ginga Stream. Victory's power-up stone is Ginga Victory, because they did not bother with Victory Knight. Megadong, I think this can summarize every. It would be funny if you just said this at every Blazar video, because I think we basically kind of talk around that conclusion constantly. One is Ginga Victory, the other is Victory Ginga. Look, wait, Megadon, let me actually recite this because I need to actually look myself. I think, well, because like I will admit, I am glad that we are not seeing too much red, because red, like I think it was with, I don't know, I don't remember which series I had an annoyance with red. I know there was one series that I got annoyed that like they constantly were doing red and red only, but here it's fine. Like I think I honestly I think would have preferred more Blazar stones that were in the style of Blazar, because I think those stones are actually more unique. Or I think like the Blazar stone is pretty unique. And I kind of wish his stones actually carried that like milky aesthetic, as opposed to just like the clear color of whatever it's supposed to be. I think for sure Blazar stones are lacking in green. I haven't covered Geed. I'm not going to cover Geed, so that's not it. And speaking of Geed, I have to finish this statement. With Geed, on the other hand, Geed only has Geed's three programmed sounds are of Primitive, Royal Mega Master, and Galaxy Rising. So again, no Ultimate Final. So, which just doesn't make sense. Like this toy doesn't make sense because all the other toys have done a good job at like actually establishing the final forms of ultras and such. Especially with like, you know, because we all know the movie forms are the final forms. But for some reason, like this toy just omits them. Like technically the only one that's in this toy is Ginga Victory, but that's because Ginga Victory is considered its own ultra. And yet we couldn't have Rega? Like, I'm not a Jeed hater. It was literally because at the time when Jeed was airing, that's when Zryken and I decided to buy into Orb, because we were like, okay, what series, like, or it was literally just because the Orb ring was on sale on HLJ. It was just that it was only like the only caveat to it was that it had to be shipped by itself for some reason. But because we were either going to get the because it was just like we were either going to buy into the X-Aid toy line or the Orb toy line. And we just thought it was just, again, because the Orb ring was on sale on HLJ. So it was just like, okay, yeah, we might as well like just buy into that because we'll get more out of it. Because I think if we went with the route again, the gamer driver, I think it was only going to be that bang bang shooting and like pack adventure. Anything is edible, Megadon. But Tokapunk, like speaking of this, I have to like bring this up because like if you like Tokapunk, like most likely the Memorial Edition is still going to carry over those specifications of like the nonsensical specifications of whatever is pre-programmed into from this toy to the Memorial Edition, because I don't think they're. It's honestly why I haven't actually gotten it yet, because it was just like I want to actually see if they're actually going to improve on the actual specs of the product instead of just, hey, look, we actually made this thing that clearly wasn't a button, and just, you know, standard, hey, look, we ripped sounds from the show, we ripped dialogue from the show, and put it in the toy because for some reason we can't get the actors back in to re-record the lines again. So we're gonna just have to deal with whatever resources Subaraya provides for us and try to clean that audio up and just have it pass through. And it's just like it's not worth it. Okay, good. They always like that's how they always are now. They always plan these things in advance, and it's just like, what's the point? But other than that, like I think for the new generation stones that are not released yet, I think it's just Decker's forms. I think we're just missing Decker's forms. We're missing strong type and miracle type. Which I don't know. This Bandai doesn't make sense. They will prioritize putting out all of Tiga's and Trigger's forms, but not Decker. It's like, why did you even program it in the first place then? And it's like, that's why I found annoying with like statements I heard with like the Desire driver of just like, well, like of course, like some of these sounds are just in here for like placeholders. And it's like, no, you clearly had these sounds planned for something. Use them and release them so that we don't have to get it by ourselves. But yeah, now I can actually fill this page out and such because this is what I always had planned and such. It's just like, I don't know, like I'll at least say the Blazar brace did a lot better. Like the pin system they chose because it is the yokai metal, like a yokai watch pin set. So there's this page filled out. Like they actually did a good job at like choosing like what needed to be added in, which is why with 80, for example, I don't remember. I think Julian is programmed in, but I feel like Julian has to be programmed in. Yeah. Is there any? There's the only unused sounds for the Desire driver are like half of the are like the other half of the armed weapons, so like armed bomber, spear, knuckle, fire, bazooka, dagger, special. Because then the other, like, because the last sound we're getting, the last pre-programmed sound we're getting is the Desire driver. Oh yeah, and Kamen Rider too. Kamen Rider is also unreleased because for some reason they really do not like putting out individual. They really do not like putting out the the pre-programmed Kamen Rider sound. Hopefully, Gotthard actually puts out theirs. But here is the EX page set, and look at this. We got 5 pages filled, and now we got nothing to fill out our. We have nothing to fill our last page with because there isn't anything to fill it with. I mean, yeah, I would. I don't know why Julian is just not. I don't know. I don't get their priorities. Of course, the Desire driver is that. How can you. Megadon, you know how hard it is to actually track down the 7 set? But like, so I'll be honest. I don't know what else to fill this binder or like this case with because I'm only going to use this for my new generation stars, stones, and such. Also, I always say this. I kind of wish they actually made it so these were actually molded for the stones, because now the issue is that you're denting the foam, which is not great and such. I Okay, Togapunk, if it's the video I think you're talking about, I saw that. I don't know if it's worth going through, especially because I think for what half of the comments said, it somewhat works, but it's not like a true fix. It's just a 50-50. I mean, it's a card reader. So I feel like card readers you have to give like some slack for, but yeah. Because this is the disappointing thing. Like, oops. Like, I really want to find something to like. I really want. I have to find out how to utilize these last 6 slots, but I can't. Or these last 5 slots, but I ultimately can't because like if I weren't like because sticking this in here won't do anything. It will dent it, yeah, but it's been a while since I pulled this one up. Because I'm 50% or I'm 100% sure, obviously, no one here has watched the video where this is featured. And I just realized, why was I wearing my earbuds? Like, so, because basically, this feels like the same thing I've used for this and such. So, just like sticking through here and such. If I remember how this was outlined. Like, this is basically what I've done, but just more cleaner. Like, this is basically this. Megadong, it doesn't matter. Just you just have to, like, it makes sense to like be honest with some things, but like as long as as long as it looks fine on the outside, I think you're fine. Especially like, I mean, if it's again with the case with like my shot riser, I don't think they were actually gonna like. I think if it's in the case of like, okay, we're just gonna give you a new one and like not like give you like not in the way that they're gonna like fix your old one and give it back to you. If they're just gonna send you a new one like immediately, then like I think it's fine just to not be honest. But if it's a case of like, oh, we're gonna take a look at like the one you send in and like try to fix it that way, it's like, yeah, I think in that case it's like, okay, yeah, you should probably panic. I have so much foam that I need to use. Yeah, Tokupunk, that's exactly what I'm referring to. I apologize for there. Hopefully that actually. Hopefully I sound fine still. Okay, Tokupunk, this is actually a pretty good comparison because I think here's the difference with this compare. Like I think Tokupunk, I think I'm gonna have to agree with this. Okay, thank you. But because I think oh whoops. I think looking at it overall, the Gotcha driver definitely does have more functionality than the Desire driver. Because of the attachments and such. Because I feel like Gotchard's doing what I wish Geats did with the Desire driver and actually go like try to like go out of its way to like expand the buckles and like make the buckles actually look like different things and such. I feel like my issue is that I think with Geats, I feel like they committed to it too late. Or they did it only to like a singular character, and at that point it was like too late when they actually started expanding on it more. Yeah, that's exactly it. Because they're going to say, yeah, the Desire driver is really playable out of box. And it's like, no, it's not. Because the thing holding back the Desire driver is how it's programmed. Because it's not they they cheated their way through its modularity. Because if it was truly modular, I should be able to do hammer boost by having it play hammer sounds first and then boost, not have it in a convoluted programmed way so that basically it plays the sound of the buckle that's the highest number and then it plays the one in the lowest. It's just and then like with the Gatra driver, what I like about it is that it's like obviously the base toy itself is basic. It's basically the build driver. However, the Gatra driver starts becoming more like expansive. Like the Gatra driver is a lot more expansive the more units you get. We have still yet to not. Zriken has just left his Amazon Japan box in here from like December, like from December and such. So like he still hasn't opened his Gotchard stuff from like if you saw the last unboxing because we're still trying to get the quarter 1 stuff. But like I honestly can't wait just to get the igniter because I absolutely love the igniter. I love how the igniter. I love both modes of the igniter. I like how the Gotchard, the fire Gotchard mode, basically it's the same play pattern as the original Gotchard driver and such. It's just obviously more like fiery and such. But like I think it's a fun expansion. It's a fun like boost of sounds and such. And like I love the Valorad mode. Like the way the custom ups work, the sounds, and just honestly, I think it just they somehow made the two modes work together, despite the fact that I heavily disagree on the Valorad driver being a completely separate driver from the Gotchard Igniter. Because it's literally them saying the hazard trigger on the build driver is a different belt. Okay, well, I apologize. Let me catch up. Yeah. Because Togapunk, I saw your comment and such, and like I wanted to do more research. Like not research. I wanted to read more through the comments before I actually like decide whether or not I was going to do it. Yeah, I remember Actar back then. I don't really watch his stuff, but I remember watching some of it. Like I still didn't watch his stuff back then, but I I watched like little bits of his stuff. Yeah, like I honestly can't wait to see Valorant GT and just see if whether or not that'll be the form that people will actually like. Because I know Draken brought this up to me in his stream with Megadong because he told me that like you two were having a conversation about Valorant. But like, because I'm in the same ballpark of where I don't understand why people despise the suit. I never liked the original Valorant suit to begin with, so like, or I never thought much of it because I just didn't really like. It's not a bad suit, but it was just like, it's just you kind of just move on and such. But like, honestly, like I yeah, I like the suits in Gotchard and such. I think Gotchard's I think for like main suits, they've been pretty solid. I think the only in my opinion, the only suits I haven't really been too big on are probably the two X forms. I'm not too big on X X Rex or UFO X, but I think it's just because I don't because the whole point of Gotchard is that it's supposed to be two chemis combined and such. So I guess I don't really like it when Gotchard just does singular chemi forms because I think that's why I just prefer Star Gotchard a lot more. And I think honestly too is just Star Gotchard at least resembles Gotchard. So Venom Mariner is one of my favorites. I think Venom Mariner is my favorite of like the actual like I guess in that category of suits of like okay, this is like these suits of like retools. I think Venom Mariner is my favorite. And then wait, clip the Valorad portion. Yeah, like what I never get is like what do they not see? Like what do they have against Valorad? Like the Kamen Rider Valorad suit? Because I think my conclusion is that they just wanted Chase. They wanted Kamen Rider Chaser because they can't see something as its own and such. Like I think it was at least cool that people finally like saw Valorad as Valorad when his arc came around, but then that came with a lot of like aggregations and such. But yeah, the Valorad custom ups are really good. That's honest. That's what I really like about the Valorad driver. I like how it expanded on a concept from the Valor Rusher and like utilizes the two slots of the Gotcha driver in a smart way and such. Like it's really cool. Megadong, I'll just say you're just wrong. Like I mean, like I'm not I can't like fault you for not being I can't fault you for not being too big on Majade's debut and such, because obviously like that's how you feel, and that's you shouldn't feel the need of having to bow down to the crowd. Yeah, exactly, Megadon. Because people actually like were like, oh wow, his story is actually good, kind of thing. It was so funny when people were finally like actually acknowledging, like, because that's what happens when you let a story build up. I feel like most people weren't letting the story build up at all and such. Is this about Venom Mariner? I I don't know. I feel like again, I feel like Gotchard's like the most I felt like not I just not have felt anything about the forms. Just because it's like, you know, oh, I mean, it's also just because I kind of just I'm trying not to pay attention to much of them because it's just like, oh, whatever. Because it's basically more of like, okay, is this actually going to get a Soto figure or not? um, like yeah, Iron Gotchard. I think it's a lot better from what we were initially told because I was initially not too big on the train arms, but I really do I like the color scheme. I'm not too big on the train arms. They're as annoying to me as the boosters and fire got charged. Thank you, Tokupunk. Okay, that's about Jade. I think I did remember reading some things. I think though I read it as like people being playful about it. Excuse me. I just assumed people were being playful with that statement. Yeah, I think my issue with Iron Gotchard is that I just I guess moving on to this, like Platinum Gotchard, I mean Platinum Gotchard's fine and such. I did not expect it to be a lot more barer than Iron Gotchard. So I kind of wish it at least kept the front coat or the front skirt and such. But I think my issue is that I kind of wish there was I know people probably would have been upset either way, but I kind of would have preferred for equality's sake. I would have liked if Crosshopper had its own form. I don't know what you would have called it because obviously it makes sense why they're transitioning from iron to platinum and such. Like I don't know if you would have called it like bronze Gotchard or something. That's what it's going to be assumed as. But I don't know. I just would have preferred if I would have liked if Crosshopper had its own form because I think it is kind of a bit unfair. Because it's like, why is it that 10 liner gets its own individual form, but Crosshopper can't? Uh, Togapunk, you might have to remind me of what that was. I think um I think I somewhat remember it. All I remember is that oh, never mind. No, like Meganon, I know I know it's Kamen Rider Revise. I just mean in what sense was it an antidote? Because I don't remember. Like I don't remember what at no guys, I'm not asking about what Thunder Gale is. I know it's Kamen Rider Revise. I'm asking about the antidote. I'm asking about what exactly it did to like help Iki and Vice like what helped purify Jack Revice. That's what I mean. Obviously, I haven't like I'm asking because I haven't watched the show. So well, yeah, like of course Toku Punk, but I mean like what did like I'm asking like what Thunder Gale did to help purify Jack Revice. Like what exact like was it like what component of Thunder Gale helped purify Jack Revice to become Revice? Okay, so basically Thundergale helped put them because I know that like it made it so like that Vice became the main body. Like I know it switched the positions of Iki and Vice. I know about that. I just don't I know because like I know what happened before in the episode. I know that it was like I know George became demons, but like well, you can't just say because plot. Because like because like I know like because obviously with Jack Revice because Jack's in the name, Jack Revice allowed Vice to hijack Iki's position and such, which is why they were in that situation and such. But like I don't like I guess what I'm asking is like what was I guess what was the urgency that made decide to finally like get Thunder Gale together and stuff? Because I think from what I recall, I think wasn't Vice going berserk at that point? Okay, I'll take that. It's like, oh yeah, like even though he's gonna lose his memories, we can't have him die. Okay, yeah, thanks. I mean, did I do pretty good at explaining that for someone that hasn't watched the show? But yeah, because like honestly, like I don't know, like because I know I see I know with Platinum Gottard because like because Tokapunk you I'm sorry. I Togapunk, I know you like I already brought this out of like bringing out how Platinum Gottard's perfection. Like I think Platinum I think we definitely need to see it more. Like I do think it's at least better than the X forms for sure. But like I don't know. I think with Platinum Gottard, everyone's just been kind of going to the statement of like, oh my gosh, Gottard has quote unquote too much forms, and it's just like Guys, this is the typical form structure we've been having since Reiwa. I don't see any reason to be upset now about quote unquote too much forms. This is what you guys wanted. Like, people complain about having too many writers, so obviously they put that budget into forms, but now they're upset at that. Well, I mean, in the instinct of like, honestly, I think Revice was worse with having it back to back of those types of forms that are like one half and the other and such. Because like honestly, yeah, I guess that's agreeable. Because technically, because I guess in the case of Geats, you have to completely omit Command Twin because Command Twin is not Command Twin. First of all, was just I think reasonably not utilized and only used in like for like certain situations. And also, it's just because Command Twin smartly Command Twin is like prompted as like universal between all the writers and such, which I think is cool. It just sucks that they didn't really utilize it as much. And it just sucks that basically that suit's not existent, or the only one they only have is Buffas, because technically, I mean technically, Gotthard's doing the same form structure as Geats, because you have the base form, then you have the power up form, which is like again a Geats, it's Command Twin and um Gotthard, it's the X forms and such. But speaking of Fire Gotthard's not a power up. Fire Gotthard is an extension to the base forms. Because it's honestly annoying to see people, and it's going to be annoying officially too, of seeing Fire Gotthard paired up with the X forms and such. Because it's like, no, that's not it. Just like how in Geats, you don't consider Powered Builder a power up because it's not a power up. It just has specialties to it. It's just Powered Builder just has the ability to utilize Giant weapons and such, but it's not a power up because it was a main form. Well, technically, like yes, you can argue of like, well, just because it was a main form for one writer doesn't make it a main form for another writer. Megadong, the more you keep repeating this, I feel like you're wrong because no way they would no way they would just last minute throw together Fire Gotthard. Because even though Fire Gotthard was probably a lot more cheaper to produce, Fire Gotthard is clearly more expensive to produce than Gotthard Daybreak. So, but like it's just I don't think like Fire Gotthard's not a power up. It's in the same lineage as like his base forms. Yeah, the episodes don't lie that Gotthard Daybreak was thrown together. Yeah. Cause like I think it's fine, like because again, we're at the point where they're kind of like double billing on like these categories because like again, I think it makes more sense for Fire Gotthard to be treated because like Fire Gotthard is still basically a base form. It's just it just it's just a power boost for the base forms and such. It's basically what I think Rabbit Tank Sparkling should have been. or like again, it's the hazard trigger for Gotchard because it applies to every form. It's just that they only do it to 2 forms, and they actually surprisingly use Operating Scabos. Because I was not expecting that. But like, this form structure we have is like pretty normal. Because it's still just Steam Hopper / Fire Gotchard. The X forms, Iron / Platinum Gotchard for the super forms, and then obviously for the final form, it's Rainbow Gotchard. It's like, it's not like people are making them more complicated. And again, it's just like, I feel like this is just something I don't even need to like watch the show on. It's like pretty like, it's just pretty obvious. Because it's just like, of course stuff like the X form, like the X forms are like obviously the power up form because those require the form like the super Gotchard. I probably should have just said that. I apologize. I don't know why I was referring to the X forms, but super Gotchard still requires Steam Hopper and such. So it's just like that, of course, like, so, and plus, like, technically, because of the fact Super Gotchard utilizes the level 10 chemies, yeah, of course that's going to be a power-up as opposed to Fire Gotchard. Yeah, exactly. This is the issue. The shows just don't make this clear enough. But the toys do. Yeah, I think that's definitely the case with with most of these recent series that have to deal with toy releases and such. Because because if you look back on a case like Geo, for example, technically Geo's the latest we've gotten a power up form and such. Because I think Geo's technically the only series where we can actually agree with how the show structured the form structure than the toy releases. Because we have a group of people that literally think the Decade Armor is Geo's power up. No. the Decade Armor is an extension for the armors, but it has nothing to do with like Geo's rise of power. Yes, it helps him. Like I said, it's an extension of the right armors, but it's not a power up. It's Geo 2. Because why, like, because it's so stupid when you see like the wiki, for example, list Geo 2 and Geo Trinity as the super form, even though there's literally numerals. The forms are literally in a numerical order. It's like you can't just say, oh yeah, like Geo 2 is like Geo super form. It's like, no, why would it be called Geo 2 and be the third form in the lineup? Like Geo's so like cut and dry or cut and clear about what its form structure is. It's Geo, Geo 2, Geo Trinity, and then Grand Geo. It's not that hard. But you have some ignorant people that want to be like, well, no, the Decade Armor has to be in between. It's like, that doesn't make sense. Why would one Legend Rider form be a part of your lineage of forms? like we already had to deal with that with Waz. So annoying. I, I I I feel like Waz deserves like an actual final form. Togupunk, no way you're in the ballpark of Geo, not Geo 2, of Decade Armor being Geo's power up. Yeah. Because like again, I feel like the only series that makes this muddy is Revice. Because of the fact that Revice decided to double up in each category and such. Because it's just weird. Okay, thank you, Tokupunk. You guys actually have some common sense. But like, because I had this conversation with Zreiken before and such. But like, again with Revice's situation is it's not weird. It's just a lot more convoluted because like I think Revice is the same situation like Build, where again they keep clogging up one category for some reason. But like, you know, obviously at Revice we have Rex Genome, then we have Bard Rex, and then after Bard Rex in the power up category is Volcano. And then in the super category we have Jack Revice and then Kamen Rider Revice. And then like, I at least appreciate the final forms, or at least like for the most part people actually understand are the final forms. And then like the final forms we have Ultimate Revice and such. But like I honestly I feel like out of Revice, like I think Volcano was probably the weakest, just because especially because Volcano was singular, which I feel like that's I mean, you know, eventually they did just have both Revi and Vice and Bard Rex, which I think probably should have just been the case to begin with, but you know, I get they wanted to do another toy. Like, I don't know, it's like I like I like the Volcano, like the Vice stamp is cool. Just Thundergale is officially Kamen Rider Revice. Yeah. Megadong, I was actually going to get to that. Because that is actually an interesting argument. Like Togepunk, it is officially Kamen Rider Revice. It's not just Thunder, like the form's not Thundergale. It's officially the Thundergale Vice stamp produces Kamen Rider Revice. It's the same situation like Rube, where the Kiwami crystal produces the Kiwami crystal makes Ultraman Rube. You don't call it Ultraman. You don't. It's not like because okay, I can understand you mixing this situation up because obviously the way Toy had it was that obviously if Revi and Vice are together, they're Kamen Rider Revice and such, and they're Kamen Rider Revice whenever they do the remixes and such. So honestly, like I can't blame you for like wanting to keep constantly say it's Kamen Rider Revice Thundergale, but that's not right. It's yeah, what Megadong said. Revice wasn't a real writer until Thundergale. But Megadon with 01 is an interesting example because this is I think technically this is valid. It is valid that Realizing Hopper in actuality is 01's final form because of the fact they established 02 as a separate writer. So in a way, for the 0-1 driver, like, because for the most part, I've been going off a character structure and such. So basically, there are two angles you can go at this. You can either go at it with how the 0-1 driver system is, or Aruto as a character in marketing. So basically, obviously, marketing wise, obviously it's Rising Hopper, and then Rising Hopper is the base form. Power up is Shining Hopper / Shining Assault Hopper, and then the super form is Metal Cluster Hopper. Final form is 0-2. The 0-1 driver, however, it's almost that same structure, but like, I mean, technically, obviously, you can argue that Metal Cluster is also a final form. But then again, technically with Rerise and Hopper, like for 0-1, yeah, technically like Rerise and Hopper is the final form because 0-2 is a different system and such. But obviously, like character marketing wise, 0-2 is the final form. Yeah, yeah, this is where it gets muddy. So Wonder Mighty doesn't count. Wonder Mighty basically is the same ballpark, right, in the same place as like, you know, Power Builder and Fire Gotchard. It's not in a category, or it's basically like, I mean, technically it's in the extra category, but it's not like, yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, Megadon. You know what? This is actually the same case as 0-1 because the cross saber. Well, because now when we think about it, with the Kaiken Rekka, if we had to think about it of like the forms of the Kaiken Rekka, yeah, Wonder Almighty is the final form. But for Toma's character, no, it's not. In marketing, it's not. But Megadon, you're not wrong. Featuring Saber's the final form of the final form. But yeah, because with Saber, it's just, you know, Brave Dragon, Dragon Ignite, Primitive / Elemental Dragon. And then it's like, you know, like like, yeah, book wise it makes sense as Wonder Almighty, but obviously if we're going like power wise, it's, yeah, it's again just Cross Saber at the end. Because it's just like, see, I think these cases like here actually do make sense, like they are valid and such. I think the only ones that technically aren't really valid are like the one that you hear everyone constantly argue about, which is just not right. But because again, like Cross Saber would have its own subcategories of forms, even though we only got to like 2 of 3, I think. And then, like again, like Rayla's been kind, like obviously Rayla kind of made it obviously all more confusing because they decided to make it more muddy. Like, I mean, like Tajidoro was the final form used, but it's not like for like Eiji's character, it's not the final form. It's Prutotira. Well, like officially in marketing, like obviously, like what I mean by marketing is like officially, but like it's Prutotira. like, yes, obviously there's the argument of like, well, the connection between AG and Ankh is what makes Tachidor the final form and such. But then again, it's like it's not. I mean, first of all, people are not being specific enough because it's not Tajidar entirely. It's the Lost Blaze version. It's like you can't just say Tajidor because you have to like you should either. There's no such thing as a berserk category. It's like because the thing is that you can make an argument that it's Tajidor Lost Blaze, but you will still fail. Yeah, I know, but but like I mean, like I'm trying to like make some sense out of like these arguments and such because it's like I mean I feel like the way I see like Tajidor Lost Blaze is basically like Tokyo Rainbow. It's basically that. Condor doesn't exist. It does. No Berserk. Because there's no such thing as a Berserk category. That's just an attribute. That's an attribute of a form, not a category. It doesn't matter what form it is. Because then you're just categorizing, because then like you're making an inconsistent categorization. Because you're gonna have a mix of power-ups, super forms, and like final forms. Okay. Boy. What? How many writers have like because I think because I just realized like obviously we've only been talking about main writers so far. I think this just gets more muddy when it comes to secondary writers. Like I think secondary writers are a lot more muddy with this uh topic because of how inconsistent they are and such, or just how for some because I think it's with the secondary writers. I tend to disagree with what they want to officially mark as like that writer's final form and what I consider that writer's final form and such. I think up until now, there's only one instant instant where I actually agree with Toy/Bandai on them officially. Everything else, though, I disagree with them because it just doesn't make sense. Or it's not that it doesn't make sense. It's just that it just more logically it just isn't right. But then again, it's probably also the wiki too, because the wiki does not understand, I guess, power structure. Well, not power structure. That's not it. Because I feel like if I talk about secondary writers for long, this is going to become another additional 2 hours. Because I feel again secondary writers. I feel like we can like I get not all secondary writers obviously because obviously the majority of them are cut and dry because for the most part they only have like a singular form and such. So it's like yeah, no, duh, kind of thing. But I think it wasn't until what, Baron? That they started like basically we have to start kind of like plotting out like, okay, this form belongs here and it's here for a reason, and as opposed to just like um whatever. But other than that, like we could move on to a different topic. Because I did not realize that I was going. Yeah, yeah. But this is the thing that people disagree with. This is like, yeah, like this is for me like a cut and dry thing. If the games acknowledge Lord Baron, if the games acknowledge Lord Baron as the final form for Baron, then it's the final form. Yes, like it's like, yeah, it's not the final form for like, because I think this approach, I look at it more like it's Kaito's final form, not necessarily the form of Baron, like Common Rider Baron, because obviously Baron's final form, as of now, is Lemon Energy, technically, but that's still technically a super form. That's funny. Honestly, I've been seeing mixed opinions about King Ultra because, like, I think King Ultra is a weird case of where you see people like heavily praising the show, and then people just like being mixed about it. Which obviously, like, you know, no like disregard to those people that think that didn't enjoy the show and such. But I thought at least, oh. Like like obviously again I haven't seen the show, but obviously I've I had to somewhat start paying it. I somewhat started picking some things up with it because of the videos I did with it. But like with I think episode 40, like I think 49, even though again I haven't watched the show, I thought the stuff that happened in 49 was like pretty stellar. Like I was really happy with. I'll say I was like pretty. I thought it was pretty cool what they did with 45, 45, no 49, because I was really happy that it wasn't just because when we initially saw the yeah it was with the summary that we got that was like, oh yeah, they're gonna get like extra like reinforcements and such, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, guys, it's gonna be the Kyryugers or it's gonna be the Boom Boongers, and it's like, okay, fine. But then when it was revealed that they were gonna harken back to the movie and bring back the dead, it was like, wow, this is cool. It's like, honestly, I I love King Ultra. I like that King Ultra committed to actually bringing the movie back into bringing the movie back into the story, because they did the previous episode and such. No, I mean they were like acknowledging the movie for like those last few episodes and such. So it was just cool to like, and like, what was it, the final shot they brought back? Like honestly, like the moment, like the fact that like I don't know how I phrased it. Like, you know, things are going down when you bring back the antagonist from the movie to go against the current antagonist. Wow. I wish more shows did that. Because honestly, like I think the fulfillment, or like at least like I don't know, I guess I would call it the fulfillment of like just of that coming in full circle is like wow, it's probably definitely like earned and such. I think most of the complaints were um I know most of the complaints were just about the characters and story pacing and such. No, okay, Togapunk, I think this is going to get the 01 X, not 01 extras, that's Geats. The 01 others situation where everyone's going to despise the show because of those movies. Because that's what because the thing is that people I assume like I thought that people weren't liking King Ultra first because it was from the secondary writer of 01, and because obviously how I guess the Twitter space handles it, 01 is like a no series now. 01 is like bad. And obviously I mean, I agree with it to some extent. Like obviously, I think from the start, like 01 was never gonna 01 was not gonna be. I think we knew from the start 01 wasn't gonna be a good start of Rayla, because it's like, and it's not because I don't know how to say it, but it's like it wasn't trying to be like the biggest issue with 01 is that it wasn't trying to be innovative at all. It wasn't trying to reinvent things. It was just like, oh, we're just going to do the same thing. It's just that we're just going to slap on Rayla for marketing and such. And like, I think that's why 01 failed. You're wrong. Just because characters die does not make something bad. Boo hoo. Again, I've only 01, I've only seen the first arc. But again, I know how it. Yeah, exactly. I think what saves real real time is the fact it had winter movie budget. The fact, like, I think the fact that real time got an extra 24 minutes probably saved that movie, because I think that's the issue with the majority of summer movies. They do not have a half hour. They only have an hour. So everything feels incredibly rushed. I think that was definitely the issue of Battle Familia from like what I skimmed through. Especially because it was a Sakamoto movie. You cannot cut Sakamoto movies down to under an hour. Desnarok. Dryken kept just calling him Bugnarok for some reason. I was like, what are you talking about? No. I mean, probably Prince, but like, no. Oh. No, it's not. This is not Common Rider. It's not Common Rider where after a few months everyone just suddenly hates the series. Sentai doesn't have that luxury. Or not luxury. Sentai luckily doesn't have that treatment of like, oh, it's been a few months. Can we actually say the series is bad? Because obviously Sentai is always on that spectrum. But I think I caught him. Yeah, that's why Rayla's not good. Yeah, I'll agree. Like it's also like the action. Like I think whenever I used to actually go back to that movie, the action in that movie is pretty stellar. I just said the pacing was bad. Or I just like because again, it's a Sakamoto movie. I think um I just feel like if it's a Sakamoto, it's because Sakamoto movies, you can tell like there's a lot more like with his movies, there's like a lot of things going on and such. But then like obviously it just depends on whether or not it's actually gonna be paced well or not. It just happens that Battle Familia sadly just felt really cramped. But I mean, at least Battle Familia got a supplementary special. I guess that helps it a bit. But then again, people didn't like it. People did not like the Geats, or like, I don't know. Apparently, people don't like Geats' movies. That's what I heard. Like, I think because people didn't like how comedic and lighthearted the people didn't like how lighthearted the movie was. That's what I heard. And that like, the message just wasn't really as like the message was like pretty standard and not anything like groundbreaking. Because technically the only importance of the Gates movie is that you need to watch the Gotchard or you need it to watch the Gotchard crossover. I assume. Oh, of course. That writer, the main writer for that, the main writer for that movie does a pretty good job at continuity. Yeah, because Battle Familia, obviously, the only thing they had going for it is that it was a Sakamoto movie. how how to phrase this? You can't live in ignorancy, Megadon. You have to commit. You can't just close yourself off out of fear. Plus, I know people were already complaining about the Visa Next already. That's every summer movie. You can't use Gotcha just randomly showing up as a pointer. Of course, it's gonna be there. Yeah, honestly, the soccer movie was honestly the first thing I've watched that I actually had to think and was like I actually had to think through. I was like, huh, that wasn't as great I was expecting it to be. Like, I mean, the soccer movie is like all right, but like it's kind of weird. No, it's not. Like honestly, that's what I have to commend the final episode for. The fact that the final episode connected itself back to the movie. Honestly, like because again, I don't know if talked about it already, but like I like shows that actually have like a really tight continuity. Togapunk, we haven't heard it yet. It's not getting released until 2 weeks. Because I know you're probably thinking about Curators, but that's not it. That's the insert song. The theme the theme song for the Visa Nex is Dangerously, which we haven't heard. But like what? Yeah, continuity. Like that cuz like, I think for me as a viewer, you would want everything you watch actually to matter or like to actually like mean something in within the main story. Which is why like even though like most people want to disregard certain things, it's just like it's just sad like cuz I think it's sad when like you write when you have certain things within like a show or something that that can be disregarded because it's just like obviously unless it's not canon, but even still like you should probably still watch it just to see like the different perspective and such. Because like I think it's a lot better of a value of like viewing the show if you like absorb not absorb, but like if you've like watched everything and like see that the show will like acknowledge those things you watched, like with a movie or like, you know, with Ryder, for example, with like the winter crossover movies and such. Like I think with Gotchard, from what I've seen, Gotchard's done a stellar job at actually heavily incorporating the winter movie into it, actually making it matter. You can be all upset if you like you can be as all upset about I get like well I have to like watch a movie to see Majade's debut. Sucks for you, but it's a lot more valuable. But it's like it's a lot more of like an enriched experience of like being able to watch Majade debut in the movie and then like seeing it finally like fulfilled within the show and such. Because I think the issue is that obviously the majority of people's like experiences are being hampered because of the like I feel like that's the issue with obviously watching these shows is that our experiences are pretty hampered because we can't watch the movies at the same time as these shows are airing because we have to wait for them to be released somewhere and such. So obviously it muddies the experience. Obviously, I don't know if it's obviously if you do watch things in chronological order or watch them binged, it might ruin the like authenticity of the opinion because of the fact, for example, you've been like someone that will binge a show will like obviously will probably have a bit more of a positive opinion as opposed to someone that watched the show throughout the entire year because of the fact there's a difference between watching it within 4 days between a year and such. Well, I mean, again, that's probably the case. Like, I mean, because again, it's just like them actually holding Majade or actually making Majade debut, and like again, this is like the first time they've like done this in a while, so of course it's probably going to be that case. Yeah. Sorry, I was just well. I mean, no, like these are the kind of things that I because this is the same thing they did in Geats, right? Because like again, like what I was bringing up before with episode 49 of King Ultra, I think that's a perfect way of tying the movie into the show and such, or like bringing an aspect from the movie or from like something else back into the show and such. I think that's the perfect way of doing that and such. Megadon, what you're bringing up, this is what I kind like. This is I feel like the most low level like thing they do because like I don't know. It's like I know we're supposed to like you know like get giddy when they like have a passing line of it or like when they like make mention of it like with Ace and whenever the Desire Royale came back. And he was like, "Oh yeah, this thing came back again," and they like cut to like a clip of like, "Oh look, here's Seeker and here's the Ryuki Riders." Like I get that like that part is supposed to make like the viewer be like, "Oh shoot, they're acknowledging the movie," but like I don't know. I think the way King Ultra did was pretty phenomenal. The only thing of Majade I've been interacting with is her. Well, honestly, the only thing I've been interacting with the movie is the soundtrack. Majade's Majade's theme is great. I was going to use it in a video last week, I think. I was going to make a video around it, but I decided against it, especially because it was the strike last week. Yeah, Be the One is like, I think Be the One was probably like one of the last. I think after Real Time was probably like the last good like summer movie. Like Over Corsair is fine and such. It's just it has to deal with some muddiness. But like Be the One is like really good. Like technically, like the only thing muddy about Be the One is just Geo's cameo. Or just what they try to establish with Geo's cameo. But at the same time, though, it was probably good that they just stuck it at the end of the movie. Because yeah, like because like again, you had Grease and Rogue handling the other smashes, so it made sense just to stick Geo at the end. And again, like cross builds a really good form. I mean, I think in general, I think Sentai does a lot better at integrating the movies into the show. But I mean, I think the issue is that I think it's just because the majority of the movies for Sentai are quote unquote filler. Because like for example, like Zenkaiger's movie just led into a spin-off series. Dawn Brothers, I think, did get it touched upon. Because I thought that no. I think I'm thinking the opposite. They made an episode to tie into the movie. I don't think they ever brought the movie back in to the show, but it's Dawn Brothers. Pure Majors, I think, actually revolved around the story, or like actually got brought back in. I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. Like Sentai does a lot more of doing an episode to tie into the movie. But yeah, especially because like I get that they have to. I get that like certain aspects of the movies have to be vague because like they have to assume that like obviously people are going in blind, or like certain people are going to go in blind that haven't watched the show and such, which I think I don't know. I feel like if one thing had to change, I think for sure just I would just prefer if some things got more tidy for the movies. And because honestly, I don't think like the movies should have to garner towards like a general audience. I think they should just cater towards like people that have already watching the show just to get the most value out of it and such. I think Megadon, you're the opposite of Zoriken. I think it was with the Memories of Souls that finally made Zoriken actually like the series. But I feel like it was also just because of the fact I kept telling him about how the reception. I kept telling him about the reception of Resoldier that I think I don't know. I feel like it wasn't like I don't know. I think it was just because I kept telling him about the reception of Resoldier that he finally decided to like open up about it. I still need to finish that series because I was at the same point because I was watching Zero One and Resoldier because that's how I watch the shows. I always watch them in order. In order of like superhero time and such. So, but I know I didn't get to finish the entire episodes of December for Rear Soldier, but I finished them for Zero One because of what I was working on for like high school. So I think I was on the episode before the Christmas episode for Rear Soldier and such, because I think I remember the last episode was the Tiramigo focus episode and such. I want the Russo Calber, the Russo Calbers, like, because again, I want a complete Russo Gold arsenal, so I really want the caliber. What was this one called? I don't want to say Terra Freeze. That's Dino Fury. uh, Opie Raptor? No. uh, Tyrideno? No, Tyrideno. That's not it. Like I never cared for like. Oh, okay, like you know. Well, like, I don't know. Again, it's the only thing. Well, obviously it had Max Russo right on top of Tiramigo. That's what it was. That was everyone. I I don't necessarily care for Rear Soldier's designs. Like, I absolutely don't. The only thing I like about Rear Soldier is Russo Gold and Noblest. Like Russo Gold and the Noblest cloak are like the only two like redeeming things of Rear Soldier. Everything else is just like I don't care. Trying to remember what the egg was called. I know no one talks about the summer movie. Episode of Stinger's good. That was the first thing of Kyuranger I remember showing Dragon when he was still against watching Sentai. Just because it was a Sakamoto thing, so it's like he's gotta watch it. And then everyone, I think Piton, yeah, Piton, that was its name. I never cared for it, but that was its name. But I think everyone set themselves up for disappointment with Q Ranger versus Space Squad and Loop Ranger versus Pata Ranger versus Q Ranger. I know people were mixed on. Because I think again with Q Ranger versus Space Squad, first of all, I saw a recent aggregation that someone made up, which is just not true. That I saw someone getting upset about the fact that like, oh, Q Ranger versus Space Squad was the reason why we didn't get Q Ranger versus Jewelcher. It's like, no. And like, I think I made this joke in one of my, I think my second to last overview. It was my proper Kagegurui overview. I made the joke of the actual title for Kyuranger versus Space Squad because it's basically Kyuranger versus Space Squad. It's just Kyuranger Returns. It's just a Returns movie that just happens to comprise 3 members of Space Squad. And it was more like, oh, and it's also more of Kyuranger versus Kyuranger. So, again, they called it episode 1.5 for the Space Squad story. or they gave it a lot of subtitles because they also called it Curator Civil War. But it, I think people were setting themselves up for disappointment for thinking it was a versus movie. Episode of Stinger is also another good execution of, or episode of Stinger, I think, was also a good way of like, hey, watch this thing, and then when you actually watch the show, it actually gets like fulfilled in the show and such. Because the fact that they utilize the what was the Japanese name for a unicorn? I was gonna say Karas, but that's not it. It's Ikakaju. Yeah, the fact that we got the Ikakaju arm and show was pretty cool. Megadong, I've already made that joke. That's what I just said. Ikaku. But yeah, it's like I know, and also like I think if we have to think back on like Sentai VSNX forms, or like I think episode of Stinger was a VSNX. If you said this to Zriken, he would be upset. But like okay, like if we had to think back to like if we had to like think collectively on like Sentai VSNX forms, I think despite how like I remember how disappointed people were with I remember how disappointed people were when they revealed the Ikakaju arm, because people were like, "What the heck? This is all they can do for a V cinema and such." But then you look at the stuff we get now. I'm like, you know what? The Ikakaju arm is probably one of the best ones they've done. The best movie mech or mecha? I think didn't we? No, we had a conversation about what was considered a movie mech, but oh, I okay. So like for sure, I like Cube Condor. Cube Condor is one of my favorites of recency, but I think my like mecha, like you said mecha. So my favorite has always been Engine Dai Shogun. That one, yeah, you just said it. Engine Dice Shogun's been like pretty nostalgic towards me. I remember seeing like that thing when it was initially around. I was like, how is RPM gonna get this thing? And they never did it. I think Geki Rangers is probably second up there. Oh wait, Magi Rangers too. I keep forgetting Magi Rangers is considered a movie mech because I'm so used to how the unicorn appeared in Mystic Force. I don't remember like Magi Rangers is probably one of my favorites too. Like Engine Dice Shogun, Magi Rangers, Cube Condor. Uh yeah, I think those three for me. Really? That's the name? Saint Wolk? It's still Wolkaiser? Wait, so in Magi Ranger it's not a unicorn? I'm just trying to like recollect. Okay, because Saint Kaiser. Like I'm not too familiar with Magic Rangers mechs because obviously I think most people only cared about Magic King and Wool Kaiser, and then whatever Magic Shine's mech was called. But like, because I know Bokengers was pretty like Bokengers was the jet. I think Decorators for me is probably the weakest one. Just of just be. I never liked Decorators mechs anyway. So, Hurricanegers I think was just a sphere. Obviously, Gal Ranger, we got Gal Kong. Travelon? That's its name? Wow. Mahou Tensujin. And then obviously Abba Ranger we had. I was gonna say the Blizzard Force Megazord. That's Dino Thunder. Abare. Jeez. Alright. I feel like Shinkenger should also be brought up. I never knew the Kyoryu origami was a movie mech. I knew back then that it was kind of weird to me because I was like, "Oh, cool, it's a sword." But I never knew it was part of like a mech combination until like I think a year or two after. Because I just remember watching H35's video or or just seeing the thumbnail of it. And I was like, "Oh, that's weird." And then we have Gosei Wonder. Gokaiger didn't do one, which is it was fine. I don't like Gokaiger's mechs either. Are you talking about the Kyoryu origami? Um, the frog. Oh yeah, like obviously Tokuspino. Obviously. Um, double. We're not talking about That's actually surprising because I thought it was only brought back in the show again for Hyper Shinken Green. And then I like Safari Galon. Safari Galon was pretty cool too. I'll actually probably put that one higher than Cube Condor. And then Dino Mario was nothing. Dino Mario is weird, especially for being a Pound Mario retool. And then like I think the repaint started getting weaker. Yeah, I probably should have switched that. But I think the repaint I think since Q Ranger I mean Q Ranger was technically Q Ranger. I think that's when it started getting downhill because then we have Carabarros Voyager. And then Lupin Rex. Like Lupin Rex is cool. I just wish it wasn't. I wish it actually did something. I don't know why they didn't bother putting in sounds for it, especially because Carabarros Voyager got sounds. Why not Lupin Rex? The fact that's like the only VS vehicle I did not have. And it's also I just don't get why everyone wanted it. Because I think like Jackpot Striker I think was cool. but it's just like they should have they should have made it do more. It's such an uneventful toy. I think that's why that's why I ultimately just decided not to get it. Like, no, like I agree, Megadon. Like Lupin Rex is cool, but the toy is so uneventful. And then we had Kishiryujin after that, and like that's Zriken's favorite, but I don't care for it personally, especially because it's like it just it got burned up by a meteor. And then like what? Technically, again, what it was apparently supposed to be uh Mashin Zibune. Zibune was supposed to be a movie mech, but then they put it into the show because they had to delay the movie and such. We've already talked about it. And then they haven't done movie mechs since because they haven't. I think King Ultra could have. I mean, King Ultra didn't even have a mech battle to begin with. They haven't had mech battles in the last 3 movies. Like, I just realized that Zenkaiger, Dawn Brothers, and King Ultra did not have mech battles, but Cure Majors did because Zibune had a special combination. I think that was when they used the cannon combination, such. But like, I mean, I guess I don't mind that they. I guess I don't mind that they haven't done movie mechs. Like it's obviously unfortunate because like obviously the movie mechs I think are typically what fill out the second quarter. For no, like I mean that they typically are the second quarter of the catalogs or for a Sentai toy line. So yeah, it does kind of suck that like they haven't done one in a while, and especially with like a series like Boom Boonger, where it probably would be perfect for a movie mech to return. It's probably not going to be the case. I mean, technically, I think it was since Sentai became a B property that they probably eliminated the movie mechs, just because I guess they just needed to do something to like in order to like cut product. I guess. Well, like actually, now I think like I don't know. Do you consider the Robotaros mechs? I don't. This is yeah okay. At first I didn't know what you meant, but it's you're talking about the fact that they're not enforcing mech battles into every battle or every episode now and such, which I do think I mean like I think from a production standpoint, I think it's probably just done for the sake of budget and such. But then again, I don't think we should. I think budget's the thing that we shouldn't have to worry about, especially with like King Ultra, for example. Like they told us in King Ultra to not worry about budget. Because I think again, since Zenkaiger, for the most part, or Dawn Brothers, they have like their budget is like steady and such. So I think again, maybe Boom Boonger is like the return of like weekly mech battles, but I don't think it is, especially because I mean I was going to try to connect it to something, but I don't think that's the case. Did the show forget too? I mean, technically the show I mean, when did the show drop the individual Robotaro fights? Was it when Gondra Gonjin? Dragora Gonjin debuted? Because I feel like that was the last time I saw a Robotaro fight. Gonjin? No. Dondra Gonjin. Is that I keep forgetting the name of that one despite the fact that it has a cool name. I just wait. No. Because I don't know why I was going to try to think that me pulling out or me looking at the gear was going to actually help me. That's an I put that thing back just to save up space. But what else? I haven't heard anything about this yet, Tokupunk. I assume Tokolekbles will get their shipment in next week, and then I'll probably hear from Zyken. So I think Zyken will probably tell me next week, or maybe this week. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the cycle of when Tokolekbles does get their things in, and then because most of the time I'll only hear it through like their Twitter or whenever they like post about like, hey, we got this shipment in and such. But most of the time it's just Zyken telling me, oh yeah, you should probably expect this thing in and such. So, a weird thing is that I think 2 weeks ago he told me about how like the Zillion driver for him was going to come in and such. Yeah. they do. They have been taking forever in a while, which is why I kind of I don't know. I kind of want to know why, but I know that's not any of my business too, but like at the same time it's just because again, I've been talking about this for a while in my unboxings of just how I think it's weird that or I just want to cuz like the majority of the Geats things I've gotten obviously we will get the Japanese release because obviously you're supposed to be guaranteed to like at least get it right away or I mean I think sometimes too it's just because the Japanese release is the only release there because I mean I guess I do like 50-50 on like getting the Japanese release or the Chinese release and such but like in some cases where they initially didn't even have a great now I'm just answering my own question maybe I don't remember. Because I was going to say, I find it weird that in some cases where we have where we have clearly ordered something that's of a Japanese release, and yet in return we get the Chinese release. Like, yeah, that's exactly what I was getting to. Because I think because again with basically the majority of my premium stuff for Geats, they're the Chinese release, which is not bad. But like in some cases of where like they actually do list out both regions and such. Obviously, um the Chinese versions are cheaper, like by like $10 and such. But like obviously at that cost, like obviously just because they come in like a month or two later and such. But like I think my from what I would wish is that if they're more transparent about like why certain items are taking like forever, like the Shinobi buckle, for example. Why did I have to wait? That was a September release, but I got it at the beginning of December. Like, okay, Megadon, like, luckily the only, like, basically, you kind of had to view the Chinese releases as the same as, like, the US releases we used to get before they dropped that again. Like, basically, the Chinese releases are the same, it's just that they have a sticker. They just have a sticker on them and such. But like I actually should show this because this one I did not have to wait. Because this one I got off of Amiyami, but this is the Memorial Edition Dino Brace. I still have yet to actually open it because I think I'm gonna wait until the Blu-ray to open it together. I don't know. Either way, the video of this is not going to be until May. So, but like, because again, it's the same thing. Just it's the same thing. Just what Chinese stickers. And again, with like this thing, I got this like a month after it was supposed to get released and such. Because like, again, I want to verify like, because I personally want to verify this with Zarikin, just to make sure we're not making false claims of like collectibles switching out like the like versions of products you get after you ship them, because I want to verify this and I've asked them multiple times if we can verify it or if we can try verifying it, but we just never did. Because I just don't want to make like a wrong judgment of like, okay, like I want to make sure like, okay, if we are getting like, if it is us just getting the Chinese versions of these products and not remembering, then yeah, that's on us and such. But like I will say there was at least like, I mean, I've said it before, I've had cases of Toll Collectibles where like our orders at like while we clearly ordered from the first shipment, we just got pushed to the second shipment. And from again, it's because I'm not the one ordering these. It's Draken. So like it could just be him not reading every email. Like I don't know if they like actually email you on like, "Hey, we're sorry that like we didn't fulfill your order. Like we're sorry that like your order is clearly in the first shipment. Like we have to push you to the second shipment because we actually don't have enough uh inventory to fulfill your order. So like if you don't mind being pushed to the second shipment, then like, whatever. Like I don't know if they send like stuff like that and such. I wish the Dino Brace was that. Yeah. I guess like, because it's just like I want to make sure like we're actually, because I think what I'm getting like, because I just want to make sure that like we're actually paying for like the amount. Yeah. like I just want to make sure that like Zrykin is paying the amount that he is supposed to be paying for these items and such. Because if it's the case of like if we're paying like the full Japanese version, if we're paying the price for the full Japanese version and then getting the price and getting the Chinese version in result, which technically should be cheaper, like what I want to know is like, okay, is Reagan in like his like is he like actually like fulfill like is he paying up the price of like the Chinese version in full or like the actual like Japanese version? Because like obviously again, it's not my place to like constantly ask Draken about like how much each of these costs and such because he doesn't like it. He probably wouldn't want me to do that. But like I just want to make sure that we are paying for like how much we're supposed to be paying for with these and such. And again, because of the fact he mostly just does these in deposits, obviously it's a lot more difficult to like try to like break that down and like try to like see like whether like obviously we have to factor in shipping, of course. But like I just want to make sure for the most part we're actually paying for like what we're supposed to be paying for with these products and such. But like, I don't want to make it like I don't want to make it that like this is the thing they do, obviously. But like it's just because of the fact, you know, Tokollectibles has recently been opening up like the Chinese products or like the Chinese versions of these products out that I wanted that in like just the weird oddity of the fact that like we're not even able to get these toys in a timely fashion anymore is kind of weird because the thing is that I think I was getting to this like 2 weeks ago. I didn't get to finish it. Like 2 weeks ago, like Dragon paid out the Zillion driver. Like he paid the other half of it. It's already been a week and such. Like this is a weird case because he has already paid for it and such. Like I don't think this is the case of like my Gokaiger stuff of where like they just forgot to ship it or they didn't ship it when he paid for it, or the case of my Noto Yudo set where um they didn't fulfill my order in a timely fashion. Like again, I'm pretty sure it will come in at this week at best, but like I'll give it until next week and then maybe we should probably start like just assuming that okay, this is weird. But then again, I think I'm just gonna have to assume that maybe it's probably the Chinese release. I think the only I already said this in the last stream, but the only things I didn't get of the Geet stuff that were the actual Japanese releases were Bujin Sword and Fantasy, because my Cross Geets ended up being um my Cross Geets ended up being a Chinese release. Oh no, Megadong. That's not how it. That's not how deposits are. He didn't do the pay in four. We have not done pay in. We have not broken up our payments like that. Typically, I tell Zyken just to pay out the final payment in full, so then we don't have this situation. So, like, obviously, he paid the deposit. Yeah. So he paid the deposit obviously when it was on pre-order, and then basically, what I assume is like whenever, um, whenever Token Collectibles actually gets it in their inventory, obviously they roll out the full payments first, or they basically ship those out first, but then they start charging people the deposits and such. However, the Zillion driver, like, obviously it's not an oddity, because the thing is that I haven't seen anyone obtain their Zillion drivers yet. So this is not like just something between like Draken, or just like an oddity between Draken. It's basically just whoever has ordered the Zillion driver off of them. I have not seen anyone obtain them yet and such, which is, I don't know, it's part of the course with the Geats stuff from Token Collectibles. Like, it just takes like basically a month and a half, or like a month and a half, just to see anyone obtain it and such. But like, I feel like the Zillion driver is weird because he got charged for it in like a timely manner. Because things like the tassel, did I forget to show this? Like, did I forget to show that? Like, I got the tassel book. Because like, I still don't even know if this is mine. Because like, Zrykin has the other two books and such. Like, it's just that this one goes with the blade driver and such. But like, again, this thing was a like October release, and I finally got it at the beginning of, no, I got it at the like end of January. Yeah, his fluffy cyan hair. Yeah, like, especially on my behalf, because again, I'm not the one like ordering, so I don't get the emails. It's Riken. Such, so it's like it's a lot more difficult on my behalf, because like I want to know, like, I want to know the release schedule, or like, because like, not that I want to know, but it's like, I do want to like know whether or not like the product that I'm ordering, that I'm getting from them, is like gonna arrive in like a timely fashion, or if it's actually just like in a process of like arriving to us and such. And the fact that like basically since September, like basically since the second half of Geats stuff, things have just been weird. Like, the Geats the Geats premium the premium Geats items have just been weird. They like, those are not arriving on time. Or like, those are like coming in like months after. Cause like, I think I got the like disaster book on time. But then like, I don't get like, because the thing is that I got the disaster book when that like in a timely fashion, but the tassel book that got released alongside it, no. And the Dead Man set too, or like the Glacia set, I got that in a timely manner. So it's just like the Geek stuff have been weird, and like some weird oddities. Like, my Dawn Blaster Memorial Edition came in like when it was supposed to be. But my Zonglass sword, I don't know about the whereabouts of that. Cause I heard from another person that like theirs was on hold for the um I heard at least theirs was on hold because of like another item and such. Yeah. Um I I'm gonna have to go with I'm gonna have to go with they aren't able to buy enough inventory because with my Noto set, they had to. I think the Noto set for me, they had to order that off of like another proxy service specifically for us because of the fact they have forgotten to fulfill our order and such. Yeah, like I mean, I think I think they're only worthwhile for like they're for the most part they're only worthwhile of just pre-ordering like premium premium Bandai stuff, and then I don't recommend getting the retail stuff off of them because you can get them at better deals. Like I get that it's factoring in shipping and such, but like I've only had to like I've only had to like get retail stuff if it was like out of desperation, to which I think was like twice, maybe. I think the worst thing I got from them was Avatar Gear Set 03 for like $20. It's not worth it. But like I could not find that set anywhere else. But like other than that, I think Toe Collectibles is also neat in some cases for actually fulfilling or like actually holding certain Chinese like Bandai China items. Like what I showed before, um the Blazar Stone case. I was really glad that they fulfilled that. Especially because it's kind of the same price if I were to get it off of like Bai, like Makari, Japan and such, just because I don't know, for it's just Bandai China products are kind of iffy. But with I'm happy they're finally actually order holding out orders for the re-releases for the Kabuto Zectors and such, because obviously I want the Gatag Zector. I saw a video on that last week, was ecstatic. I'm definitely getting that. But there's also too much things to track down now. Yeah. And like you can get like obviously I think they are selling like armor hero stuff, but they're not doing the stuff I want to pick up because the two I think it's just one now. I don't know. Like I mainly want to try to get armor hero stuff from Lava and Captor because I think the Captor belt they did a release on and such. Lava, I think I might have to go for the original toys, but even that's hard. Oh, the Spiral Beret they had up is the Japanese release, to which I still haven't gotten that. I haven't the only pre-order I made Draken secure was the Hyper Key set because obviously it's Hyper Keys. So I got him to secure the new generation star set, but I haven't secured the Spiral Beret nor because technically okay, before yesterday's announcements, I think the only other pre-order thing I had to fulfill, which I think is again still fine for me to like prolong, is the stuff for King Oger versus Dawn Brothers and King Oger versus Kyryuger. Though just because of how that's being handled, I'm only going to get the Dawn. Was it the Dawn Oger Crown Lance? No, the Dawn Oger Crown. The Oger Dawn Crown, I think is what it's called. Like that's like out of the two, I'm only gonna pre-order that one, and um, the Gary mix shooter is I'll probably find it in the aftermarket because I'm gonna assume that the contents are gonna be the same. But again, that one will probably be because again, luckily the DVD like the DVD package you can prolong those ones, but like the others, I think I don't know because like the others I think are like at least a month and a half because I think at least the good thing with Total Collectibles is that their pre-order periods are longer than what Premium Bandai typically has. So like it does like save us of like okay if we can't fulfill it at this month then we can fulfill it then there. I don't even remember the name of it either. I really do want I really would like to watch an Armor Hero series because again I would want to watch Lava. I've only seen snippets. Like I'll like just scroll through. Lava and Captar are the two I've watched like snippets of because all I know is that their movies are some reason they really don't know how to be in continuity of the show because I think the logic in the Lava movie is different from the show because I know in the movie everyone's just able to like switch belts and so it's just kind of like and like I think no one is like it's only like the main character that's actually in his like main form like briefly but everyone else is just like oh yeah I'm just gonna utilize this belt. The Captor movie I think it's more closer but I think it's just more of like oh yeah just don't expect to see the forms from the show. But yeah basically like Megadon you can watch it on YouTube. Like I don't know it's definitely weird because like I think again I think you briefly see the two main characters actually because I think well first of all I think from what I saw from the Captor movie the main character doesn't even utilize his main form anymore because I think it evolved and such. So like you briefly see them like I don't know like the movies are weird because it's just like you do get like oh now that's unfortunate. But like you do briefly get to see like the actual forms but like obviously they're trying I think the whole deal is I think especially with Captar's movie they're trying to like like the whole deal is with like the final form like the movie form and such like they're trying to sell you on that and such. Lava's movie on the other hand they're not trying to sell you a new thing. It's more again it was just more because like I think for example like the tsunami armor the character that typically used that in Lava's movie he doesn't use it at all in the movie because he's using the tornado armor. And then like I think whoever was Cliff the user that used the Cliff power he's now Lava. So I think tornado is completely omitted. Yeah, I think tornadoes omitted because again, I think tsunami became cliff, cliff became lava because the main user for lava is now Atlas. it's it sounds like something I would have done. But honestly, yeah, I think the Atlas belt's the only one you can actually find. Because trying to get like the lava belt, not lava. Yeah, it's lava. And like the tsunami belt. Well, the lava belt you can get like a quote unquote CSM esque version of, but it's just the original one, just higher quality, like louder, basically and clearer. And I think I think they removed the jingles too. And then yeah, so you can't find I haven't been able to find like the original belts for them, but again, that'll be like much later. And then yeah, Captor is pretty interesting too because it Captor has a secondary gimmick, but um, I think for like the re-release of the belt they did for the anniversary, it always comes with the main four, so it's lion, bee, shark, and bat. Like the armors, they don't come with their secondary gimmick, which I think actually allows them to do attacks. Like something like that. But other than that, like Armor Hero would be cool. I think I mean if I was really proactive, I think I would have actually wanted to cover that by like next year, but I don't think it's possible. But yeah. I think other than that, that'll have to do with this stream and such. But next month I don't know what I will do because this Blazar stream was kind of the last one of like the carryovers that I had in mind. But and I'll say this now. Legend here, like, can you find that toy line? Like, I find the toys for that one to be interesting too. But I'll say this for sure. So, like, next month, expect a stream from Dragon. Okay. Well, like, so Zarkin will do a stream on the Zillion driver just for consistency's sake. So, you know, don't push him. Or I guess like be careful around him, I guess I'll say, just because again with how we handle the streams here. But I don't know what the main stream for next month will be because I don't know what else to cover, and I don't know what other things I can do. Because like obviously I do want to actually try a stream on my computer. I just don't know what exactly to do. Okay. But because I forgot to say this. Like I think I probably like I'll admit I prolonged this stream because I was kind of hoping like, well, I at least wanted to like film Blazar, but like also because I'm still not done yet because I still need to record the stuff I just did, which I'll probably do tomorrow. But I probably at least should have done it last week, but again, I just kept prolonging it. Or I didn't want to prolong it any longer because I think I was originally gonna like, because what day is it? It's the 26th. So yeah, I didn't. I think the original plan was to do it on leap day, just to have like that fun of a video of like, oh, we did a stream on leap day and such. But I I just finished. I'm done with 1 week editing 1 week of Blazar, and I need to get on with the second week, to which obviously requires me to actually film it, or like to film the stuff I just did for the stream. So that's why I just decided to do it today and such. But I don't know what we will do next month. Maybe maybe we can cover the rest of like the things I haven't opened yet, but I kind of do want to wait until like I actually do get the Dead Man set. But if I do get the next Ride Watch set in by a reasonable time, maybe we will probably open those stuff up. But other than that, I do want to try to. I think by April, um, I think by April we will probably actually start implementing the stuff I actually wanted to change. Oh, like we will probably start implementing the newer stuff, the newer elements for the streams, because I really wanted to. I wanted to do that last month. Couldn't get it to work because my laptop doesn't have space, and I still have that issue. So, which is why I'm still on StreamYard and such. Because again, I want to try to transition out of StreamYard and into OBS, just so then we can do more. I guess the thing too is that I want the stream to be a bit more audience interacted and such, just because even though we have done a bunch of just just sit down and watch me unbox these things, obviously that's been winding down. That's severely winding down and such. And so, we had to try to like come up with like audience engaging streams, I guess to put it and such. And which is why I think probably next month we will probably try doing a stream on my computer. I just need to figure out what exactly we can do, because I haven't had ideas for an editing session in a while, just because most of the videos I'm working on are either I do them in sporadically or they're like confidential. But yeah. So just for okay, first of all, I'll make sure this is turned off. But for this sake, because I think this might, I don't know. We need to do a farewell to StreamYard. We just haven't yet. So we will play a clip in honoring. So yeah, just thanks to everyone that came to the stream. I'm sorry for the abruptness of it, but like, despite that, I do think anyone that has joined or will watch eventually. So let's end this. Whoop de doo.